Hey everyone, Gill Gross here, post-match. Rafael Nadal versus Borna Coric, Cincinnati 2022, round 2. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video in 3, 2, 1. Rafa Nadal out in his opening match in Cincy. Borna Coric wins in 3 sets, the biggest win he's had in quite a long time. I haven't dug into the numbers in terms of when's the last time Coric has picked up a top 10 victory, but huge for Borna. What I want to do here is jump into some of the major tactical themes of the match. Then I'll talk key moments, and then I'll talk about what it means for both players. I watched this match on replay for the most part after the rain delay because I was playing tennis, and I watched it with no commentary. So all of these thoughts are completely original. Usually they're original, but I get to at least hear someone else's opinion. So that part is kind of interesting. So first of all, if you are going to design a type of player to beat Rafa Nadal, the first thing you're going to make sure they have is a very strong, powerful two-handed backhand that they're comfortable attacking with, that they're comfortable taking on the rise on a hard court, and that they are comfortable playing from a high contact point, and they don't lose too much power when the ball gets about shoulder height or maybe even above. There are a few players who fit that bill. Novak Djokovic is one of them. Think Fabio Fognini, think Karen Khachanov, think Sebastian Korda, who nearly beat Nadal on a hard court earlier this year. Borna Coric certainly fits that bill, and now he and Djokovic are the only two players with winning records against Nadal when facing him 5 or more times. On that note, it brings me to kind of the first tactical theme of the match. Nadal's forehand defense, I found it to be very, very ineffective. Usually very short in the court and cross court, where Coric has angles to attack into with his double-hander, whether it be with the backhand or running around and hitting his forehand, which he doesn't love to do, but he certainly will do occasionally, and he did do it on match point, you'll find. Coric is not great at attacking from the middle of the court. I think it is a perfectly viable defensive game plan to just go down the middle against Coric and make him create from the center where he has less angles to work with, and he may have to use his forehand, which can be on and off, and I think the consistency of his forehand is pretty much the main weakness of his game, and we'll get more on that a little bit later. But it didn't feel like Nadal was able to take advantage of that, and his forehand defense pretty much played right into Coric's hands as he got balls to step into and attack with on his backhand side. The only thing that really surprised me about Coric's performance, I thought Borna was pretty much, just Coric, and he played. He's capable. He's a very good player. He's capable of a great level, and he brought that level. But there's only one thing that really surprised me. Something where I was like, wow, I didn't realize Coric had this in him. And that is the serving. Borna is a strong guy. He's physical. I knew that he could serve big, but I don't think I've ever seen him serve so aggressively. 61% of Coric's first serves for the match were unreturned, and that was not really necessarily a product of Rafa's poor returning, but you have to give Coric a lot of credit for how he placed his first serve and averaging a whopping 127 miles per hour on the first serve. That is an average. That is ridiculously fast. That's a quick first serve, and one that I, again, did not know that Borna Coric really had in him. I knew that he could, again, ramp it up, but not on that kind of consistent basis. In the first set, Hawkeye confirmed that 14 of his 17 first serves were within about a foot of the line. I don't know the exact distance, but close to the lines. And this serve strategy did come with a trade-off. There's no doubt about that, which is that he didn't actually make that many of his first serves. That first set that I just mentioned, where he put 14 out of 17 close to the lines, well, he only made 43%. He would finish the match serving first serve 49% in play. Here's why that ultra aggressive, go for the ace, go for the unreturnable serve strategy was the best thing Borna could have possibly done. It paid off big time, that strategy, because Coric kept winning behind his second serve. Borna for the match was 67% second serve points won. If you're going to win 67% of your second serve points, you should go for broke on the first serve. You should squeeze every ounce of effectiveness and potency that you can possibly muster on your first serve, because if you miss it, no big deal, you're protecting your second. So the thing is about the second serve stat, Coric never felt the pressure to make his first serve because Nadal wasn't winning second serve return points. And that was a huge problem for Rafa. You know, ideally, you win some second serve return points, and now you actually take away some of the sting out of Coric's first serve, because Borna might be in a position where he's thinking, gee, I got to stop missing first serves. This is a problem. I got to change. But no, Coric wasn't making a ton of first serves the whole match, and he knew that was totally fine. In fact, that was the best way he possibly could have went about his first serve. On this note, the second serve returning by Nadal, that shot itself, was most definitely the worst part of Rafa's performance. He missed way too many, and he just seemed to have zero confidence trying to attack Coric's second serve. I found that Coric was serving mostly to the Nadal forehand, and the reply was usually very, very spinny. Lots of shape, generally landed short in the court. So there was no depth. There was no speed. It was just a loopy nothing burger. And that was pretty much most of Nadal's second serve returns. So that surprised me. I mean, I saw Nadal move in the third set on like a couple of occasions, but there really wasn't an adjustment. I think Rafa probably figured that he would start to get more comfortable hitting better returns from his regular return position, but it just never happened. And again, that second serve, that poor second serve returning by Nadal, arguably allowed Coric to hit so many phenomenal first serves because he just didn't feel any pressure to have to make it. I also think that this ultra-aggressive mindset that Coric certainly brought to the table on first serve was evident in his ground stroke game. This was about as aggressive as Borna Coric can play, especially on the backhand, where he consistently tried to really rip it with all he could muster. And I do wonder if that was part of the plan against a version of Nadal who must have been craving rhythm. In his first match back since Wimbledon, surely Rafa wanted to get into some longer rallies where he could start to feel the ball enough to really hone in his attacking forehand in particular, but all of his ground strokes. Coric just wasn't giving Nadal that rhythm at all. He was more likely to put Nadal on the defense or even make an unforced error rather than play from neutral with Rafa. And I think that was smart. And we've seen that from other opponents that Nadal has played on occasion, where they know that if you let Nadal start to feel his ground game, you could be in trouble. You know, Nadal obviously wants rhythm. He wants repetition. So I think that Coric did a great job of just always making Rafa feel uncomfortable by going super big off the ground and close to the lines at that, and just continue to make Nadal defend, accept the unforced errors. And again, even if Coric was going to make some unforced errors in rally, he was never really going to be penalized with his serve being broken, because his first serve in this match was so effective that he was getting so many free points that he could afford to make a couple of mistakes off the ground if if that was going to happen on any given service game. I'll also say that Coric's forehand was actually really, really good in the third set. And honestly, if Coric's forehand is going to be that good, you're in trouble. You're in trouble against the guy. His forehand was not good in the first set. And that was Rafa's chance. Really, Nadal, I didn't think much of the level in the first set by either player. I know it was entertaining. It was close. It went deep into a tiebreak. I'll talk about the key moments in a second. But I didn't think the level was high. Coric's forehand, I mean, it was typical kind of, he lacks the control on it. Now, on that note, the forehand is not a weakness because he isn't strong off of it. There's plenty of weight of shot off the forehand. So if it doesn't miss, it is good. It's a weakness in consistency, vulnerable in consistency, not in power. So the way he was hitting his forehand in the third set, the fact that he was making all of them, it does make him a very, very formidable opponent when his forehand is not misfiring, as was the case in the third set. So really, you have to take advantage when Coric is not timing his forehand, because it just is a shot that can tend to go in and out. Let's get into some key moments. Well, in the first set, there was a rain delay. Nobody could really return serve before the rain delay, but they come out of the rain delay. I do think Nadal really should have won this first set 6-4, because Coric came out serving at 4-5, barely made a first serve, relied mostly on Rafa's mistakes to hold for 5-all. Moving ahead to the tiebreak, Coric made a handful of bad mistakes on his forehand and didn't make key first serves. But Nadal, on his first set point in the tiebreak, missed a forehand drive volley. Probably should have let it bounce. I don't see Rafa play too many drive volleys because he's so good at generating pace with his forehand. There's usually not a need for Nadal to take the ball out of the air. I think it's a better play for players who just kind of are a little bit more underpowered and don't have such a penchant for racket head acceleration and pace generation. Anyway, he would get another set point here in this tiebreak, and he buried a backhand cross-court trade in the net. He ended up double faulting the set away. He double faulted twice in the tiebreak. It was a problem throughout the duration of the match. Too many double faults for Nadal. Coric's cross-court backhand at 9-all in the breaker did ultimately set up the final set point. It was another example where Coric was on the run and somewhat deep in the court, but was so strong and hit so big off of his two-hander that he was actually able to pull Nadal out wide and rush Nadal's forehand into an error. It goes back to what I started with talking about, just the strongest two-handers in the world having the ability to hurt Nadal on a cross-court backhand that most players simply can't. Moving on to the second set, Nadal showed off some great serve and volleying in this set. In fact, just a lot of success at net in general. He won 7 of 9 net points, which is far more than he won in the first or the third set. In fact, if you combine it, if you combine the other two sets, he was 3 for 6 at net, and the second set was 7 for 9. He also broke Borna Coric's serve in this set, which was the only time he was able to do that. Coric hit his first double fault of the match here at 15-all, and then he made a couple of forehand errors. An attacking change of direction down the line, which was good shot selection by Coric, but just bad timing, caught it late, and it went wide. Then Coric on down break point at 30-40, missed a forehand cross-court trade, just sailed long somewhat inexcusably. So there's another example of the forehand really costing Coric, and Nadal taking advantage of a rare Coric double fault as well. That was all Nadal needed. He won the second set. Moving on to the third, I just want to key in on when Nadal's serve was broken. Coric only broke serve in this match once as well, and it came in this third set. Let me take you through the 4 points that Coric won here. The first was a bad drop shot by Rafa. Too much air and too deep in the court. I was fine with the decision by Nadal, but Coric ended up getting there in plenty of time and hit an angled forehand slice winner off of the Nadal forehand drop shot. Nadal hit a double fault in this game. Nadal hit a backhand slice cross court that just floated and landed short. It was a very poor slice, and Coric, to his credit, stepped in on the forehand, went hard down the line, and forced an error. Remember, Coric was very consistent attacking with his forehand in this third set. And then on break point, Nadal missed a forehand down the line attack. He had a lot of open court, but the swing really seemed to lack commitment, and it was maybe even a deceleration. And I do want to take this moment to say that Nadal's forehand down the line was pretty much missing in action. And we know how important that is when Nadal plays a righty with a great backhand, such as Novak Djokovic. He needs to change that pattern and go hard down the line to try to set himself up with forehands that are from the middle of the court, or just really to get out of that cross-court pattern where he's being pulled out wide on the ad side on his forehand. And he couldn't do this in this match because, God, I feel like there was maybe one or two good forehand down the line for the entirety of the match. I mean, it just wasn't there for him. Coric also did a good job, though, by the way, on the two rallies that he won. Or I guess on two of these rallies that he won, he did get the return of serve to Nadal's backhand. So credit to Borna for that. Other than this game, Nadal dropped a total of 2 points on serve in the third set. So he really dominated in all of his service games. It was just this one, and he got broken, and that was it. So ultimately, this match was very serve dominant. Obviously very tight. Nadal had every chance in the world to win the first set. And then in this third set, I mean, look, it took Nadal forever to get broken in this match. He didn't get broken until midway through the third set. So it was really the return of serve. And again, the second serve returns is the main thing I'd circle here that did Nadal in, because he held serve quite easily on these speedy Cincinnati courts against Coric, but he just couldn't break serve against Coric's phenomenal and very damaging first serves, and again, protecting the second serve. So great to see this for Borna Coric. First of all, I mean, he's been through hell with the injuries, and he said that he was really excited to come in and play this match because it's been like 2 years since he's been on a big stadium court in a marquee match. So I do think that he really just enjoyed competing, and that probably helped him play his best or close to it. Certainly, I was impressed with the performance that he put in the third set, no doubt. And it's great to see this for Coric, and it should give him a lot of confidence moving forward. Nadal for the U.S. Open. Well, first of all, one thing that was at stake was the number one seed, but this part really doesn't matter at all. Being the number one seed and the number two seed is the exact same thing. So I just want to say that part really doesn't matter. He'll be on the opposite side as Daniil Medvedev guaranteed, and that's really what you want. It would have been good for him to get matches in. There's no doubt about that. But I would just say, look, in the format of a major, the 128 player draw, 32 players are seeded. I say this all the time, and I'll say it again. It allows for playing into a tournament. If you are a Rafael Nadal of sorts, you are likely going to get a couple of matches where you don't necessarily have to play your best, and you can get your rhythm that way. So I think the biggest thing for Nadal is that the foot looked okay. Obviously, the abs seemed fine. I don't think, although the double fault numbers were high, I mean, it wasn't like the serve wasn't effective in this match. So I really don't think that this is the end of the world on a really fast court that he's struggled on since 2013 for the most part, having not played since Wimbledon and facing an opponent which is a stylistic issue in Borna Coric. I think all things considered, Nadal will hang his head high and head to New York early. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.